As the fifth guy. Playing such an important role, you are sort of expected to be supportive too. I mean, you probably you have to be. Is it challenging to work your way into something that's already so established?
Yeah, it is, because Queen were 4 very strong characters and 3 strong characters still. So you have to sort of be careful. You can't just go barging in there and saying, this is what I think. So I spent 25 years suggesting things delicately.
Worming your way in slowly, yeah.
Right.
Worming my way out, I think.
Letting it all be Brian's idea.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes there's, hey, that's a great idea, I'm glad I thought of it, that kind of thing. But no, they are very receptive, and even back in the day, I started, my first tour was in the summer of '84, the year before Live Aid, when Live Aid was quite a phenomenal year for them, because that performance turned everything around and gave them a huge boost around the world. And we sat down before Live Aid and said, well, what are we going to do? 20 minutes. And in 20 minutes, what are you going to do? And I said, well, why don't we just play the hits? And they said, that's a brilliant idea, let's do that. So so we came up with a medley, which included, Bo Rap, We Will Rock You, I'm the Champions, Crazy Little Thing, and a couple of other songs. Cut them down, and in 20 minutes we managed to get more bang for our bucks, so to speak.
One of the greatest concerts I ever saw was you guys and Freddie Mercury, who was one of the greatest stage performers, I think, of all time in rock, and certainly just blew down so many boundaries and barriers and opened up the world of rock for so many other progressive bands to do so many interesting things. It cut down in his prime. Yeah. And suddenly, I never heard the story. It was just all of a sudden he was gone, because, there wasn't a lot of talk about classic rock. Rock people thought Queen was just a really cool name. And there wasn't a lot of talk about AIDS back then. It was kind of a taboo subject in some ways. So it was a shock to a lot of people. Yeah. Was it not as much of a shock to you? Did you guys know it was coming, and did you watch his decline, and was there just nothing that could be done back then?
Yeah, really back then.
Medicine's come a long way since.
If it happened now, of course, he probably would have survived or still be alive. So it's because, and that's why the Mercury Phoenix Trust was started to go into AIDS research, so that people can have normal lives and can survive. I mean, it's a terrible disease. And it was a shame that he was one of the first celebrity people to get it and go down. Yes, it was a shock. And yes, we did witness his demise at the time. And it was sad. But the strangest thing was the last bit of him to deteriorate was his voice. So although he stopped touring after '86, he made 2 more albums. And I think the final album he sang was Innuendo? I think it was Innuendo. There's some amazing performances on there, and like The Show Must Go On, you should hear that. Yeah. It's one of the greatest recorded performances of a man, and the only fully functioning part of it is his voice. We will end the day by playing that today. That's fascinating stuff. All right, let's get Jamie on. Jamie, referred to as Joe said, the other guitarist,
the one you never see, Mr. Darkness,
and also the other guitarist for Pete Townsend a lot too. Right?
Well, I have done that thing, in Tommy, the original Tommy in the West End. Yeah.
So, so you're used to standing next to someone, an icon.
Mm-hmm. That's me.
Well, aside from him,
Edney.
All right, everybody here is an icon. Let's just give you all your icon merit badge. You're used to standing next to a monstrous. I'll put it this way: a monstrous ego who obviously envelopes the room, whichever room he walks in.
Oh, you are talking about him?
Yeah, I am. And you have to play probably Mr. Reliable and Mr. Unbelievably tight and in the groove, right? Isn't that your job?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And some of the time, most of the time, it is doing exactly what you just said. And there are some times when, well, funnily enough, when we're doing the Queen stuff, Brian knows exactly. The guy's got an ear you wouldn't believe. He can hear.
You love him. You respect him.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. He's one of my top 5.
As opposed to like hate, resent, and a really. I can rip off and copy anybody with wonderful skill. But I mean, to be the people that invent those amazing layered sounds, you know that magic has to be happening in this studio. You know that people are blazing new trails. Part of what I do is try to figure out how you made that record and then make a parody of it. Yeah. We'll actually play a Queen parody in a little bit. You get the sense of what I'm talking about. Cool. What's going on in the studio? Who is the magic what percentage of it is the person who's producing you telling you, all right, we're going to do this amazing thing and it's going to sound really cool? Or is it just that the players are so good that someone directs them and it comes together?
Combination of both. I think the big years saw the producer, German producer called Mack, a guy who'd had a lot of success with ELO prior to working with Queen, as well as Roy Thomas Baker, who did some of the early stuff. But you have to know that all four members of Queen had very strong ideas about what they wanted. And
Would there be some arguing and fighting?
Oh God, continually.
Love it.
Brian would say, well, I wrote the song, I want it to go like this. And Roger would say, don't be stupid, it goes like this. And then Freddie would say, darlings, I'm singing it, it's going like this.
Raging Queens. Yeah.
You would think. You would think. But you wouldn't want to say that to him.
Oh, no.
He doesn't want to be on the record agreeing with that.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. So, all right. I'll tell you what, guys. We're going to come back. We're going to... now, is Jamie going to play us something? Is someone going to sing? What are we going to do?
We're going to croak incoherently. Because it's so early in the morning.
That's something we came up with in the car on the way here. Actually.
Right. We'll play you one of our Queen Twisted tunes if you promise not to sue us.
Yep.
And then we'll close with The Show Must Go On.
Okay.
Which you wanted. In fact, we'll open up Gary Crow's show with that so people can realize that this was, this was the Freddie Mercury legacy.
Yeah.
That he knew that this was going to be his final word.
Exactly.
All right. All that's coming back with our incredible group of rock superstars who are doing a benefit that you should all try and get to. Joe says the tickets will sell out fast, so go to kzok.com or bobrivers.com for all of the information. It is at the Mainstage Comedy and Music Club, and that is when?
Friday night, 10 o'clock.
Friday night, tomorrow night, 10 o'clock.